Hello and welcome to another live stream. Happy Wednesday to you all. We're in the middle of May, I guess. So, yes.
Just maybe, you know.
Just maybe. Happy 17th of May. I hope you had a good all of the month. Yeah. Say hello to everybody in the chat here. Again, I appreciate y'all.
Hello, everybody.
Being here. Yes. My wonderful co-host, Flo, Peyton. What are you working on tonight, babe?
I'm working on a couple of your catechins.
Catechin. I got 2 units to finish. Except I might have more because now we know that units can go up to 20 men. So I went from having like 6 or 7 units of guard to like 3. Potentially. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hi, Jacob. Thanks for joining the stream. More budgies. Good to see you, man. Revik, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thomas, good job on that Trollkin model you posted on the Facebook. It looks really good. Shale, good to see ya. Jacob Fisher playing Elden Ring. That is a game that I don't know anything about.
It is a game that DJ played through and I didn't even watch.
Really? Is it another like open world Skyrim?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I did not watch him play it at all. He played it all the times when I wasn't in the room.
I finally got my Nintendo Switch and started playing Breath of the Wild, and my approach to playing Breath of the Wild, because Tears of the Kingdom just came out, has been to just gulp the content as fast as I can, which has resulted in some very bad sleep habits having developed over the last 2 weeks. Made all the worse last night because we went and saw The Cure, but they were in town in Albuquerque, and I'm a huge fan of The Cure, and they put on an amazing, amazing show.
They sang their set for like 2.5 hours. It's kind of amazing how long they went.
So super awesome to them. But then I didn't get to bed till 3 a.m. and I had to get up at 8, so I apologize. I'm bringing all the energy I possibly can tonight. I might be relying on Flo and disembodied voice for assistance. Of course, we're all kind of... You got to sleep in. You're recovering from bum ankle. I'm just sad and sleep deprived. And Tommy is
recovering from the flu.
Yeah. So we're all beat up, a little bit beat up here today. So hence the idea of a chill stream and not necessarily pushing a specific idea. Although I feel like one will organically manifest anyway.
I mean, to be fair, I've been with the bum leg for a few weeks now, so...
It's
yeah,
better.
I could say I'm about the same as I have been the last few times.
Honestly, better, right?
Energy-wise.
Yes.
Energy-wise.
But, yeah. And I keep wanting to go back and play more Breath of the Wild, but then there's adult responsibilities or whatever that make me really sad to be an adult. Anyway.
You could see my cool Warhammer 40K Imperium sensor that's hanging behind Miranda that I made.
There.
It's kind of neat.
It's not actually finished, but it's...
I mean, it's pretty
close.
That part's finished. It just needs... I need to set the little base inside of it that you can actually put incense in. So it can have, like, incense smoke and stuff coming out of it.
What he said. So, yes. Try allocating focus to it. Nah, AA battery worked just fine, or veggies, but I appreciate it. Storm chamber would have been probably taken more than a minute to get set up. Wonderden, welcome. Appreciate you joining us. Mandagora, good to see you. Hey, J. Alex, appreciate you being here, man. Ken M. and the emojis. Heart, wavy, blue yelly cat. Hi! I don't understand emoji language at all. I don't think I would have been good at figuring out hieroglyphics.
That sounds like a band, like a little jazz band,
It does.
right? Ken M and the emojis.
That might be a name, who knows? Jeremy, hey, welcome in. Let's see. Chukka Rhubarb. Hi, kids. Hello, Chukka Rhubarb. That's a fun name. Warveggie says flow. F-L-O. Jeremy, unfortunately, I messed up my neck. Oh, so I'm laid up in bed, unable to get anything done, really.
I know
Wow.
the feeling, well, not neck, but I know the feeling of not being able to get anything done.
Being trapped in your house.
Couch bound for a month.
Nice. Well, hopefully that, I don't know if you need to go get it adjusted or if you just need to, you messed up your neck. You know, the right pillow can make a really big difference in that too. And
Miranda would know a lot about this.
yes, as a person who enjoys, ironically, holding all the stress into my shoulders and neck all the time, like changing out my pillow made a huge, huge difference. I still have to actually get adjusted every other month or so because I still just hold a bunch of stress, but it definitely helped. Paul, yeah, I looked up the set The Cure played that night. Oh, so good. I was so pleased when they played Lullaby. I just lost my mind. It was great. A lot
You
of
can
yelling.
actually see it
Yeah.
when you lost your mind.
Yeah.
You clapping and jumping. It was real cute. I had to I had to sit for half of it
Yes.
because I couldn't stand.
Or jump. But there was.
I kind of bounced
we
danced,
bounced,
you know.
yeah. Everyone was sort of bounce dancing. We were out on the lawn because, you know, that's how we roll. And just us and a bunch of, well,
That one guy who was like really busting out moves.
Yeah.
Like anytime I couldn't actually see anything that was going on, I could watch that dude and be entertained. Like he was really enjoying it.
Yeah, he was jamming the whole time. I think he had a little kid with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was just rocking out. And, like, he just sort of kept going for about 4 hours straight.
Well, he looked like, you know, one of those little, like, ribbon men that stand in front of, like, a used car lot.
Oh,
where they, like, whip around and their, like, arms
The
wiggle.
wacky
and
wavy inflatable tube
danced
man
like
or whatever.
that for, like, 4 hours. It was great.
It was very entertaining. I appreciated the massive, massive crowd of people. I guess the show had sold out, so I don't know what the capacity of the Isleta Amphitheater was, but it had been a long time since I'd been around that many people, and everyone was so happy. Let's see. Ouch, less than 5 hours of sleep. Energy is harsh. It is, and I am particularly sensitive to lack of sleep, and that has been like, it's like, I don't know. There's 3 things that I need in my life, and I can only ever seem to accomplish 2 of them. It's like good sleep, good diet, or good exercise, and I can usually accomplish 2. All 3, man, I've never been able to make that work in my schedule. What's the brazier hanging behind you? So yeah, I guess it's a sensor really because it's gonna have incense in it that Tommy made for another segment that we're working on. So props are getting made, that's actually been kind of fun. Like,
Yeah, I've been enjoying that a lot.
so you actually designed that in 3D.
Yeah, I modeled that and then 3D printed it out in a few pieces and then painted it and attached chains on it and it's hanging up there now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty cool. I look forward to when we can do it because for the little bit we'll be doing with it, we will put like smoke coming out of it. It'll be great.
Yeah, which is what Jeremy asked. We could get smoke to come out, so it theoretically should work all right. We have a little incense piece. We just need to make sure that there's an insulator, obviously, between the brass holder and the very meltable plastic this is made of.
It will be wood. That's what be a little wood disc, basically, that they sit on.
Annette Red says, I take mercy upon the paintress for her injury. Paintress is a fun name. You should change your Instagram tag.
To the Pinterest.
No, just add it as like a title, right? Like the painter flow.
Because you can have
Paintress.
tags, like, or not tags, but like
Yeah, I think you can put it in your biography, right? I don't know. Social media
various
is.
things.
I'm terrible at it, obviously. So.
I know how to put a picture up and add tags to it so people can find it.
I know. It's like, okay, so here's the problem, right? It's like I know I need to get better at it, but I actually like scorn most social media and find like I hate it. So it's really hard to want to learn something that you just sort of detest as an industry. So it's a struggle bus. Slenderden, I can't stay the entire time tonight. I am at work on my lunch hour. Oh, thanks for spending part of that with us. I super appreciate it. Are you just on like a weird schedule this go around, or is this normal? Horveggies, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Yes, that I think is the official title.
I got close.
JP got rockets. The holy hand grenade of Antioch.
It's a lot like it, except spikier.
Yeah, it's very pointy. In fact, it's quite weaponizable. Like, you would not want to step on that in the dark. Mandagora, I had to purge all my house chemicals, so I have no mini spray primer, but I finished converting a Marvel Legends nuke character head onto Doom Guy for a friend's Figma. Pics on your Facebook announcement. Ooh, all right, I have to check that out. You had to purge your house of all chemicals. Wow. Yeah. This is part of like spring cleaning. Revix, sleep for the week. Sleep is for the week. I am very weak. I need a good 8 hours minimum myself. Yeah, I am certainly at my best with that. It's just, I just have a bit of a brutal schedule, and I get very frustrated at times because I'm in such a regiment that every so often if I want to do anything different, I feel like I just pay very dearly because nothing else can be compromised to do it. So then I'm like, well, sleep is the only thing that can...
The sleep is gonna go.
Yeah, because nothing else gets to. I'm like, that I just need to work on fixing. Jeremy, I would use silicone to create the interior so your brass can sit and not worry about the heat transfer. Yeah, maybe.
That's not a bad idea,
Just
for
a
sure.
little-
I'm thinking about, since I was thinking about doing the little wood disc so that I can put 3 of them on there. I think that way we can put the number of little, what do you call them, little incense cones,
yeah.
based on how much smoke we want to try to get to come out.
Oh.
Gives it some variability.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how much one of those even really does. So it's experimental still. But yeah, silicone's a good idea though.
That was a good idea. Jacob, now I'm currently getting a haircut. Okay. Just at the hairdresser, like on your phone.
That's what I like to picture. Like the
A
barber's
little
like,
apron around.
right?
And they're just like, all right, yeah, just fade it this way, do whatever. And you're like, uh-huh.
Like they're both watching.
Paul, I have a very disjointed sleep schedule. Dude, I do not understand your sleep schedule at all. Because Paul, of course, is, 7 hours ahead? But we talk a lot. And so, like, it'll be dinner time here, and he'll still be up. And I'm like, I know that's like the witching hour for you. So I can't keep up with you. Mandagora, with my mom's passing, we found we had to get rid of a lot of spray aerosols that were, over 10 years old. And they got mixed with the spray primer and matte varnish, etc. So it all went out together. Ooh, that must be fun. So do you just take them all to a center there? I think here, for aerosols, you can actually take them to a specific center to deal with aerosols. So. Jacob Fisher, yes, he confirmed that's exactly what he's doing. Jeremy, came from me. It's obviously a good idea. Wow, Jeremy. I always appreciate your humility. JP got rockets. What about a smoke generator from a model railroading supply? I think they use juice, less flammable. Possibly?
I wonder if it's too heavy, though.
Well, I just wonder about, so there's actually two reasons, depending on like the shots that we want to get anyway. One, is that that's a lot more complicated, and I would have probably tried to model the bottom half based on that if I was going to use something like that. But with the little cones, the incense cones, you can actually get them where the smoke will rise, or you can get them where the smoke will fall. Mm-hmm. And so if you're wanting to do something where it's like you're passing this over a weapon or something like that, then the smoke's falling onto it and, anointing it, right? Or if it's like hanging behind Miranda is part of the scene, the smoke can go up and like travel across, because you'll of course put a fan behind it. But it kind of gives those options, and it's a little simpler. And so that's kind of I think the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Will you try swinging it, you think?
Oh yeah, you have to.
Of course,
for sure.
Of course. Okay, nice.
That's how you give it. That's after you make the that little gear tooth robe.
Oh yeah, gotta make that in the flag, right?
Yeah.
I get to go back to my sewing machine, which admittedly is a joy for me. That's the other thing too. I think I need to find hobbies that aren't all consuming in both terms of space and time. 'Cause it's like wargaming, filmmaking, which, was kind of the profession we're trying to go for anyway, and then like sewing. And all three of them take up massive amounts of space and time. I'm like, wonder if, I don't know.
Well, we just need to learn how to stand outside of time and space, and then we'll be fine.
We can just get that.
Just make you a Time Lord, it's fine.
I wouldn't turn down the title, as long as it came with the power.
I'd make a pretty good Time Lord, I think. I mean, I'm sure most people think that, but I'm one of them.
Can't be.
Do you need to have a good sense of time to be a good Time Lord?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, then yeah, you'd be okay. I think that really depends. Plunder Den, I am working on some Aztec ruins this week for the channel. I'll probably get home at midnight tonight for a little painting session. Whew. Aztec ruins for the week. Oh, nice.
That should be cool.
Mandagora, the people who cleaned out my house kind of did it all while I was busy with something else. It was an incredibly busy few days. Yeah, you're dealing with a lot, so I guess better to just have it what you can have taken care of for you. The only thing they did respect was me putting all the old ancient leaking batteries into one pile to be disposed of properly. Gotcha. More budgies, I've seen some cool cosplay setups using vape pens as atomizers. I am not going anywhere near one of those things.
Will not buy, will not give business.
Well, there's that aspect of it, but then there's also like the cheap ones explode on you.
I was gonna say they're probably slightly less explodey now. There's been more time for vape pen technology to, advance.
There's still plenty of YouTube videos that tell me otherwise, and I'll never forget the one Dan showed me a video from his work of somebody's vape pen exploding in their pocket. They weren't even using it. I was like, yeah, I don't want that anywhere near me. And I admittedly have a bit of a issue with the whole vape culture thing anyway, so I just don't want it.
Although,
Don't partake in any smoking culture.
What's her name? Cat something, or there was a cosplayer that did an Allison Jakes cosplay, and she used, I believe, vape pens in the Arcantric turbines. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
And to make it where it looks like the smoke was coming out, and that worked out pretty well for that.
Get an actual incense burner. I have an actual incense burner. We already have that. It's just a matter of mounting it. We've already done it. And we have like really big incense cones that are scentless, which is also preferred because after a while I can get way too musky. All right. Beautiful workflow, says Bills. Hi, Bills.
Thank you.
Jacob, let's talk about how bad the new Primaris Stern Guard look bad and not unique enough from their firstborn counterparts. Well, Tommy has some opinions on that.
Well, I actually I like them because they look like firstborn. I kind of thought they were at first. I didn't realize they're Primaris. But do you think they should look even more different than even the regular Primaris look? Like just more Primaris-y? Like where they just look like Gundams? I mean, I'm just curious, right? Like, should they be, like, is he saying they should just look like Primaris, or is he saying they should look like Primaris, but even more in that direction.
How
Just to
bad the new
differentiate them.
Primaris look. Yeah, I don't know if it's for differentiation or not. Good question. I mean, they look fine. I guess since I'm not really a Space Marine player, I don't have much skin in the game as far as like how they look. I thought the Terminators looked cool. There was the, was it the Librarian or the Apothecary? One of them in the new box that looked really, really cool. The one with the white paint job. I'm trying to remember what it was.
He was the Apothecary.
The Apothecary I thought looked really cool. But then the other ones, I'm like, I don't know, they're all Marines. Like, I can mostly tell, like, okay, Primaris from regular, yeah, you can kind of tell that. The 30K ones with little beaky helms, they're pretty iconic, I guess.
Dude, the Corvus armor is the best. The little beakies. It's by far the best armor of Space Marines.
Jacob, no, I want them to look as unique. Their firstborn counterparts.
So different.
I don't know. Warbudgie says, would make a terrible Time Lord. Powers for evil in like 2 minutes flat. Yeah, you've always been pretty like open and honest about your evil tendencies. So, you know, while we're friends and all, I would definitely like have to oppose you if you were ever to obtain like supervillain powers. So, you know, just.
I would just be chaotic neutral.
Yes, you would be. And don't forget the video game hobby also. Phasma Apocalypse update is coming. Oh yeah, we do need to get in some Phasma again. Ugh.
Well, I can actually walk into the computer room now, so.
Yes, there's that. Bills, I've been dealing with a couple of health issues, several hospital stays. Glad to finally be able to catch. Oh no. Yeah, I hope that's all going in a positive direction for you and getting dealt with. My experience is just, you know, necessarily getting to the hospital isn't necessarily the answer, but there's the chance that it is, so good. Jay Alex, I was going to say, as Tommy mentioned, you just need a gravity well and a pocket dimension, so you can bend the laws of time and space. That must be it. Is that all I need to do? Rebecca, I don't think I've ever seen an incense thurible. I had to Google the name outside of a church. I love the smell, but it does remind me of that. Thurible.
Yeah, there's like a few names. There's the Censor, which is what we've been calling it. The Thurible is also one.
Yep.
And there's like another one too, and I'm trying to remember what it is, but like, I think it's the same thing. Probably they're all slightly different, and it's very important to know in the Catholic Church.
We're not in the Catholic Church, so we're fine.
So.
What are you talking about? This is a unique IP that isn't copied from anything that they must protect at all costs. Why would you compare it to something like Catholicism?
That's right. All things in 40K are unique and original.
And therefore must be protected viciously and aggressively. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Anyway.
But I designed that one originally. I didn't base it off of, like, I didn't see another one and then just recreate that.
copy
Like,
it,
that was
yeah.
a kind of original shape. I don't know if I'd say shape. It's just a sphere.
Yeah, I
but,
mean, sphere.
like,
Not
you know,
really the most original
the
shape.
little shapes on
Possibly
it, I guess.
the oldest one. But yes, it looks good.
I designed an original shape that I invented just now.
Illinois farmer, Queen Miranda, hello, welcome. Appreciate you being here. We're having fun here. Kind of recovering. It's a little bit of a recovery week. All three of us are a little bit sad right now, but this has been lovely. And Paul, my friend Jimmy vapes just to get off cigarettes, but he always goes outside to do it.
I mean, it's
his are
just
at
as
least-
addictive as cigarettes, supposedly.
That's what I hear, and it's fine. And I don't know if it's Albuquerque culture or what, but I mean, all I know is that, because I also have a friend who vapes and is perfectly tasteful about it, so I don't think about her doing it. Usually when I'm experiencing it, it's because somebody is in front of me, indoors, and like pointedly blowing it at people because they can. And you're like, wow.
Who do you know that vapes?
Huh? India.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Well, I think that there's like somebody who, you know, vapes, and then someone who's like Vape Life. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
okay,
That's
there
like
you
the
go.
The
difference.
Vape
There's like-
Nation.
Vape
There's-
Nation. There you go.
There's like the habit of it or whatever, and then there's the lifestyle, and maybe that's more of where because I don't like
Yeah,
I don't
would
think I
call
like
that.
lifestyles whenever I hear it mentioned like, oh, I'm a cat owner lifestyle. And you're like, no, you just have a pet. It's fine. It's okay. So you can be a multifaceted human, and I feel like the whole lifestyle trend tends to pinpoint or pigeonhole people into like this weird video game level depth character.
Yeah.
It's like, I grow cactus, and that's my whole life. My name is Prickly Sue. And I mean, I don't know if that's you do you, but
It works in original NES games.
it works in Animal Crossing. So,
And then it turns out they call her Prickly Sue because it's actually her personality.
yes. Well, she's a prickly character.
It's a great movie.
I love that movie. Oh, okay, so, and admittedly, in Hot Fuzz, everyone in there is kind of ridiculous too, right? They're very strong, specific personalities. But it's silly because it's a comedy. Like, I don't know, don't be that. Oh, got a super chat up in here. What happened? Oh, Tom must vape. Cool Guys Nation. Is that your donation? He's just going to use it in a prop. What are you thinking, Aaron? But thank you for being here. Oh. Apothecary and Gravis armor. Yes, there you go. Yeah, the Apothecary looks badass.
By the way, Jeremy, if you would like to make your very own 40K sensor, I can send you the 3D files if you want.
Jay Alex, everybody seems to be mentioning health issues. I'm healthy, but my ex-spouse dropped out on me, and now I'm the primary custodial parent. So full-time single parenting is taking away my hobby time. Oh my gosh, Jay Alex.
Oh, I feel you.
Yeah,
been there.
the sympathy is real. You know exactly what you're going through. We'll talk offline. Let's see, Jeremy, I think the new Stern Guard looked great. Maybe a bit more flair would help, but they're great. I wonder if they would give the option to make them Tyranid veterans like the new LT. What are you talking about, Jeremy? You keep pointing out that you don't care or play 40K. Are you just saying this to troll Jacob?
Well, I don't understand how they're Stern Guard, because you have to have, like, I mean,
Guard
those
with
guys
a
are
stern?
like hundreds of years old. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
Primaris aren't very old. They're like brand new, and they're like, look at these ancient veterans of war. No, they're not.
Oh, I thought they were, I didn't know they were newer. I thought they were just found more recently, but like they'd been around.
Well, it wasn't like a race of space marines that's just long lost and has been, marauding about the galaxy for.
It wouldn't be the most ridiculous thing in 40K.
But no, it's like, I don't know. It takes away a lot of the space marine mystique, I think, with the Primaris stuff. I have my complaints about it, but as far as like saying, okay, now the Stern Guard are going to be Primaris, and you're like, what? But they literally can't. They're not old enough.
Maybe they changed the standards, like how
They
it's
changed
easier.
the recruitment.
Yeah, like how it's easier to get into the police force now, where like they're just like, well, we need more. We keep losing Stern Guards, and we need to fill the ranks. So we'll just lower the tenure.
Lower the bar.
Yeah.
I don't mean old enough like a drinking age. I mean like they haven't been around long enough to qualify as like that, like, what is it, ancient veteran status.
JP got rockets. Flo's such a mercenary. Her loyalty is for sale to the highest bidder. Oh, I don't know. I'm sure you have some favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, some.
Otherwise, yeah, you're out of luck. Mandagora, good luck to Alex. Sorry for the mood killer. I'm trying to brighten up. But it's me, so I'll go cheerful. Instead, I'll probably rant more about Kickstarters failing. You know what? If it helps everyone to feel better to vent, then that's fine too. I mean, we can't be happy all the time.
We're here for you, man. And also, it can't rain all the time.
Rumor has it there's a new Crow coming out, and Bill Skarsgård is going to be the Crow. And I don't hate it, But I was kind of sad because I really felt like the IP had been abused enough that it might have been affordable to like license. Just selfishly. So
Like somewhere down the road, not too far away.
yeah. So
Well, we talked to
James O'Barr.
yeah.
Yeah, who started as a
Yeah, he's
comic,
the
I guess.
creator. He's
yeah.
the comic.
Yeah, we met him at a
creator
Comic-Con
for that.
years and years ago, and he had mentioned that a movie was in the works, but it was supposed to have
What's
the
that
guy
guy's-
from Dracula Untold. What's his name? And then I guess it all fell through.
Yeah, that fell through. So.
But now we're back again, another Crow.
I just hope it's good. Crow's one of my favorite movies, and so, like, it's kind
I
of
mean,
perfect.
there was only one of them. So.
I mean, the others are interesting, but that's the idea. Is it like
Well,
the
it's
Crow can be?
Yeah, it's a type of IP that can be remade a lot of times, theoretically.
Just unfortunately, nobody knows how to do it well.
Yeah. Well, and they keep. I don't know, like the sequel and other stuff. They kept trying to kind of
Bring
pull
the
the
same characters
people
back.
in, and you're like, don't do that. But
It's not the point.
well, it could be like a feudal Japan Crow, right? Or it could be like a
Yeah, because it's sort of a timeless folk
35, like, on Mars Crow.
Cyberpunk,
like
the
cyberpunk
Crow.
right? Like,
Old Western The Crow.
you could do basically Jack the Ripper Crow, like,
Oh, yeah,
right?
like a London.
Like, that's what
Victoria-
happened to him, is like the Crow had to come and avenge him.
Bridgerton the Crow. Okay.
Yeah, no.
That would be hilarious. Let's see. Ever considered attending Historicon? Check out the other side? Yes. Just don't know when I'd do it. I mean, I was sad we couldn't even make room for Adepticon this year. Right now, it's like Nova and Valhalla probably is the only lineup for this year because other things. But yeah, like I have grown to have a much deeper appreciation of historical war games because even whenever I first started in the hobby, I really liked the science fiction fantasy stuff way, way, way more. And the historical stuff felt like that was, I don't know, somehow too much. Like, I don't want to be that into it or something. And anymore, I'm like, I don't know. Like, there's a certain appreciation for realism and what warfare means that actually is lost in the science fiction fantasy realm pretty easily with really goofy rules and where it's more gamey, And I mean, war games are interesting in the idea of them kind of being a representation of what warfare is like to an extent. And even if you have wizards and dragons, like you should still be able to convey the
Wage war with
same.
them.
Yeah, you convey the same like idea across with it. It makes it different than a board game. So yeah, historical games, just by virtue of them, as far as I can tell, keeping sort of a higher fidelity to that idea, are probably pretty interesting. The scale is the only thing that's probably my last hang up with it.
Well, it's
A lot
why-
of those are really small.
What is it? Bolt Action's been pretty solid because it.
Bolt Action is really enjoyable.
Keeps
I've enjoyed
that
it
40K
every
scale.
time. Yeah, so they keep the 40K scale. A lot of very similar rules to I think it was compared to
Oh,
like
yeah.
4th edition 40K. But pinning, brilliant maneuvers, like actual missions. I mean, the Bolt Action guys at Valhalla blow it out of the water with their train too. So you really feel like you're running around in some farm or in a town, or I mean, it's
Oh, they had a great one where it was like the sea leading up to the shoreline, and then into the town that's next to it, and then like through the town into the field on the other side.
yeah.
It was really cool.
Oh yeah, I mean it definitely captures the imagination. So all that to say, yes, I would check it out at some point. Cool guys nation. Aaron says hi, Flo.
Hi, Aaron.
Oh, JP Got Rockets just so happens to have a pocket dimension. Well, that's cool.
Can share.
Bill's Fish. Back in my day, you could buy an incense burner at a head shop. A variety of incense aromas. I'm sure
Well-
that's the case here, but
I don't know. Here in Albuquerque, you just buy weed at the head shops now.
ugh,
So
everywhere else.
it's like, I don't think they bother with incense anymore.
Andrew, remember you could always pull a guy and say people who play Germans in historical games are Nazis. A guy? I don't know who you're talking
Is
about.
it like a specific guy or is it like that guy?
Oh, nasties are nasty. I don't know. I've definitely heard that argument, and it is definitely a bit of a ruffling thing, because you're like, even just the need to unpack that whole statement feels like you have to be so remedial that you're probably just not gonna have a productive conversation.
Oh yeah. And it's like what, playing the Soviets are better?
Yeah, right?
Or like, you
Oh
know.
yeah, I've heard some very weird defense of the Soviets, and you're like,
No.
yeah. And I will say, like, my time in playing war games has definitely sent me down like actual history rabbit holes, or I have studied a lot of, like, especially like Soviet history or history of the last century, and it's like, no, it's like war is a fascinating psychological event for a lot of reasons.
Well, what is it? We were talking the other day, the war is good for nothing. And it's like, no, it's good for lots of things. It just depends on what you're trying to do.
I pissed off a coworker doing that. I said that, so we're talking about it's useful for all kinds of things.
You want to defeat your neighboring country and take their stuff? War's great for that.
Right.
It's just, we're deciding if what you want to do is good or not.
You just get tired of talking, and you're like, I could just take it from you. It's, horrible, but he was also like of the idea of like, oh, well, the root of all evil is just greed. Everybody does anything for greed. And I'm like, all right, now let's talk about how that's like obviously not true in all of history. Even people who have done it, that's not like the only reason they do things. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not the most popular person to talk to at work, but I'm certainly very informative, and people always learn something from me.
That's probably why you're not very popular that way. Like, I didn't come here to learn something. I came here to have an argument and say I'm right.
I just wanted to air my opinion without any pushback. And you're like,
Then Miranda's the wrong.
Well, actually, coming in, they're like, of course you've read this. I get that. I get the, of course you've X. I'm like, better to be a smartass than a dumb. Anyway, so multifaceted human being is going on my business cards now. I feel like that should be on everybody's profile. Just, I am a unique individual. JP got rockets. Yeah, sad week. Lots of memorial stuff going on over on Twitch from all the streamers who've known the Wapples. Yeah, I heard about that. That was so tragic. But I mean, there was a big community, so I mean, it is nice to see all the outpouring of support over what had happened. Shale, I didn't realize that a bunch of my players smoked until one of them came and decided to take a smoke break, and like half the group put out to light up. Yeah, I remember even when I grew up, like in the 90s, there were still some restaurants where you had like a smoking section, but that was still fairly early on for me before that phased away. And then I thought there was a period of time where it seemed like most people really didn't smoke anymore.
No, it's almost
There's
like
always been a
vaping
ton of
brought a
people
lot of
around
it
there.
back.
Yeah, I feel like
It's
a lot of it
interesting.
came back. And I don't know, maybe I was just whatever pocket of existence I was living in at the moment, right?
But my family's full of smokers, so
Yeah, and I guess I didn't really have that. Andrew Fairbanks. Cat people don't have a cat. They have hundreds.
Okay, I only have 3, okay?
So Miranda, what was your highest number of cats?
All right, you gotta understand. I lived in the country. I lived in BFE, middle of nowhere. And, spaying and neutering animals was a big deal because it was really, really far away to even do that. And for the
And
most part,
For a girl that was how old?
I don't know, like 10 probably.
Okay. It's hard to afford that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't afford that, right? And I was the type of kid who, if I saw an animal that I thought was being abused, I'd take it. So at one point we had 17 cats. They're outdoors, so in the country that somewhat solves itself. But they all had names, and I like to give them all human names because I thought it was weird to give animals animal names, and now you see humans getting animal names. Like everything's just so weird from how I grew up. But anyway, Yeah, so 17 cats at one point. And then I decided one day that I was going to be responsible and I would keep 4 of them because that was all I could afford to spay and neuter. And then I had to give the rest away and they all went to like farms. So they survived or they didn't. It was some country living right there.
I mean, that's what they were doing anyway, right?
More or less. I mean, I still fed them, but you know, sometimes you'd come out and you'd just see like a freaking enormous skunk. Skunks out here get enormous, just gigantic, and they apparently like cat food. So sometimes we would scare each other. I'd open the side door and be like, ah, and he'd be like, ah. I don't know. That's as far as I get. I never got sprayed. Our dogs, oh my God, our dogs got sprayed all the time. And the porcupines, they'd get porcupines. I always had to pull needles out of their nose. Yeah.
I think they'd learn.
No, they were they were
think,
notoriously bad about learning that stuff. Like, anyway, Mandagora. I was about to say that Prickly Sue sounds like a Pokemon minor character, right? She's just a reference I always make because when I lived in Oklahoma, there was actually a house that we would walk by all the time that just had a whole cactus motif going on. So I decided that the person who lived there was named Prickly Sue, and that's just. To this day, it's still true in my mind because I never bothered to meet her.
No, it turns out it was actually a guy. It was the boy named Sue.
Oh, hence the prickly personality. Bills, my doctors say that I'm on the mend. Yay! I do feel better, and in a month or so should be done with all the procedures and tests. Well, I am so pleased to hear that. It is nice when whatever's going on is actually getting fixed or not being caught too late or, I don't know, just...
All of the myriad of bad things that can come from that. When it's not bad, it's good.
Exactly. So, really happy
It's
for you,
better
Bills.
than bad, it's good.
Jeremy, well, thanks, Tommy. I have also found a bunch more Titan files. We need to figure out how I can get them to you. Mandagora. Know exactly what you mean, question mark. Is Miranda Flo's legal guardian? So many ways to interpret that.
I am cared for very much by these people here.
No, I'm going to try out 10th edition. My friend group here wants to give it a shot. I'm building a Primaris Force. Wow, Jeremy, I never thought I'd see the day. I'm optimistic.
Never live it down.
I'm optimistic. We'll see. I have heard that there have been some leaks of 10th edition stuff out there.
No,
I don't know.
Really?
We're less than a month away from release, so... I mean, as far as I could tell, leaks just don't mean what they used to mean. I don't know. I don't get excited about them. Like, do you guys get excited about game leaks? Are they fun? Because even we had a friend who ended up having somehow got an early copy of Tears of the Kingdom at the house party, the new Legend of Zelda game. And everybody there was just sort of like, it's okay, I'll just wait. I was like, this is different than how I remember growing up. Because if it was me in the 90s, I remember like obsessively following the Majora's Mask development and looking for any possible thing I could get.
Well, is it a leak if it's like intentionally released? Isn't that just a release?
Well, that
Or
would be
like
a
a
release, but then
preview
it was
or-
not. It was not released. It was not.
No. But I mean, it's not like
If
the
it's
official
intentionally
release.
leaked.
But yeah, if it's an intentional leak, then it's like, is that a leak?
I mean, no.
Right?
That's you pulling that really irritating marketing. Those marketing tactics where you make fake outrage or you make fake viral stuff or you just go for some sort of sensational thing. So I guess leaks would be kind of one of them.
Well, and I think
You think
wonder if
that's what
that's
happened?
part of it, where you're just like, oh, now's the next little sneak peek they're offering us. It's like, it's not
So you're
a
like more
leak.
desensitized to it?
Yeah, whereas, what is it? Was it Spiky Bits? Or I know that, like, there's a few places that, you look back 5-10 years, it's like, oh my gosh, the new 40K stuff. And somebody's like, oh, hey, somebody got a hold of this. And there's like pictures they took on their phone and posted on this forum. But I have these pictures. Look, this is the new stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's more interesting because you're like, oh, what is that? And now it's like the company's doing that. Like, oh, look at these. They
leaked
leaked
some
out.
rules.
Oh, this is, you're like, yeah, it's just a preview. Like, it's not the same.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not denying that it's even a leak. I just don't care. don't know. I feel like I'm not really ending up waiting very long anyway before something's out. Like, the development cycle of everything is quick enough, and it's not like I don't have plenty to do before something comes out. So, I mean, anytime I even hear about game delays, I'm usually happy about it. Like, when Darktide got delayed by like 4 or 5 months, I was like, oh, thank God. Because I wanted to get stuff done, and I know that when I jumped into it, it was going to be at the cost of something else, usually my sleep. So, like, getting those delays doesn't actually come off badly for me.
Just feels more like a reprieve.
A little bit, a little bit. Like,
When there's a delay, I usually like to think they're actually working on the game more.
yeah, I think I'm sure that was the case in Fat Shark's case. And then Breath of the Wild got pushed back like quite a bit too. Not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Not that I'm ready for it anyway. It's just sitting on my desk waiting for me to finish Breath of the Wild, which is also waiting. Oh God. Anyway. Andrew, I think it's firstborn veterans they've primarisized.
Is there anything you can do? Can you take a regular Marine and that's been in service and running around for 400 years and be like, okay, now you're a Primaris?
Aaron gives us the proper definition here because I was out of the loop. The Primaris Space Marines are a new breed of transhuman warriors developed across the span of 10,000 standard years by Archmagus Dominus Belisarius Call. Well, he was, I don't know, I don't trust that guy.
You know, who, Belisarius Call or Cool Guys Nation?
Call.
Sure not both?
Oh, Karkoff GW. Oh my God. Paul's like, I literally copied that from the wiki also. My goodness. Can't rain always, Crow. Exactly. Luke Wilson? I didn't think it was Luke Wilson. Maybe it was.
What?
No, it's not.
No,
Luke
Wilson.
is
It's like
Owen
Owen-
Wilson's brother, and they both do comedy. No, the guy who's in Dracula
I think
Untold.
he's right. It's something.
Yeah, it's Luke.
Luke.
Yeah, and I think he's
Love how
also.
you both are like, Luke, pause.
He's also the brother of somebody. All right.
Is
well,
he?
Yes, because it's like, you know, it's Hollywood, so they're all, you know, nepotism is cute when they do it or whatever.
You know, they all have brothers in Hollywood.
Untold.
I mean, who you know really does get you
Hey,
places over there.
the best Baldwin does not have a brother.
Oh, no. That's the Dracula with Keanu Reeves. Wrong one.
That's a great. It's
Luke
the better
Evans.
one.
I actually watched
Luke
that one
Evans.
recently.
Oh.
Again,
Well,
not first.
well, that's his brother Chris Evans, right?
maybe that's what I'm thinking of, and maybe that's not even true.
I don't think so.
Love The Crow. Oh, Aaron, I know. It's such a good movie. Such an amazing, iconic movie that feels so 90s.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a time capsule movie
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Which was great because when we saw The Cure last night, you know, you saw all the kids who obviously grew up in the 90s wearing all their goth gear. It was delightful.
Yeah, none of that stuff fits me anymore.
Jeremy, they are going to be exorcists, but I need to decide what red to use. It's much darker red than what I use on my Corn and Scorn. Luke Evans, my bad. Thank you, Warbetchies.
I thought you were going to mention that they played the song from The Crow
They did.
at The Cure.
They did. They played so many songs. Not all of their songs, because you know how many songs The Cure has written? 225 original songs. That's amazing. But and they're still writing new stuff. One of the new ones, I don't remember I didn't catch the name of it. I'm gonna have to find it because I think it's on their new album. And it just sounds like it's from a Dracula soundtrack or something.
Yeah.
Like they use hard drums and keyboard. I don't know. It came off it was really cool. So they're still knocking it out of the park. Cool guys, did you see the casting for the new Beetlejuice?
No, I didn't know they were doing a new Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I didn't know. Does that
Obviously,
sound
sounds
familiar?
super excited.
I am unfamiliar with that.
You know,
Stop ruining things I love.
Just get used to it. Just hope they don't go back and revisit your old original movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, I think Star Wars still got the worst of that, where you can't even go back to what you love. But at least not without the despecialized version. But without, what's his name? What's the point?
Without.
Why am I blanking on his name?
Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Then I don't even understand how you have Beetlejuice.
Well,
I mean, that's just him, right?
he definitely made that character. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do.
I don't even
Maybe
know who
it'll be
that
fine, or
character is.
it'll be memory hold.
I don't even know who that character is outside of Michael Keaton. You know, it's not like Beetlejuice was a comic book that had been done for 30 years, but then Michael Keaton came in and embodied, you know, Batman or something. It's like, no, Beetlejuice is this like thing that's Michael Keaton, and you're like, okay, recasting. It's like, to who?
Maybe it is still Michael Keaton. He's just
No, he said, who's the new casting
the new casting for the movie.
for new Beetlejuice? I don't know. I don't know if he means, because Beetlejuice is the character in the movie.
He is, but it's also the name of the movie, so like it would be all the characters. I take it as all the characters being cast, but whatever. Does Japan have crows? Asks Mandagora.
When you watch Ninja Scroll,
imagine so.
there's crows in it.
I-
So if
I
that
imagine
anime
they
is
do.
to be believed, then, then yes. That's about what I'm going through.
Andrew,
Or if you watch any movie with Chow Yun Fat, they definitely have doves.
yeah, so many
everywhere.
doves.
They're attracted to gunfights.
My favorite part of Crow was when he clearly lost to Hulk Hogan. More budgies. Oh, speaking of Nova, Tried and True Podcast is running some major narrative War Machine stuff this year. Check it out. Oh yeah, Tried and True. I saw they had I got a notification that a new video of theirs had come out. I'm glad they're banging on, doing good. Jeremy, oh yeah, someone hacked my Facebook account and I have yet to get it fully back under my control. And they've been less than helpful in getting my email added back to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
no.
Miranda knows all about that.
Yeah, so my life got really frustrating at the beginning of the
Got
year.
turned upside down.
The end of December, my Facebook account got hacked, and I just got it fixed last week. So, and yeah, it turns out that Facebook, like reaching a human, even knowing a person who personally works for Facebook, she was like, I can't help you. There's no capacity, like there's no way this gets done. And then I don't know if they've changed their services or what, but I was actually able to talk to a human who called me at like midnight to resolve the issue because I'd gotten hacked and someone had used it to run like a couple $100 of ads on some random product or whatever. So I'd been disputing that, and yeah, it took freaking ever. And when my Facebook got hacked, they posted a bunch of inappropriate stuff and got me banned. And so even as I'm like trying to get that resolved, because hey, I was hacked, they're like, okay, we'll give it back to you this time, but you better watch yourself. And I'm like, I didn't post this stuff. So I don't even know. Like, this is why it's frustrating.
This is why we
Social
hate
media.
Social media.
Yeah, it's a bit of a magic box in a way, but like because of how many people use it and because of like the automation involved in it, you feel like you just get completely run over by the algorithm, AI, whatever. Let's see, a lot of historicals are scale/mini agnostic. Oh, interesting. I am not aware of that. I'm used to like Napoleonic Wars or bolt action. Trying to think of Flames of War. Thought those were all specific minis. So I'm not familiar with any mini agnostic ones, but yeah. Oh, Guy is Midwinter Miniatures. Oh, really? Oh, that's sad. Because I like him, but he's wrong on that view. Let's see, Plunder. Blood and Plunder is an epic historical game. That's right.
Oh, that's right. Blood and Plunder is a good scale too. It's a really cool looking game. Actually got some ships, some of the resin cast boats.
Were those
that they
those
were
white
putting up
ones
for
you
those.
got?
Mhm.
Yeah. Last Nova we went to, actually, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh,
Years
yeah,
ago.
those were really cool. Yeah, I mean, the whole ship combat thing seems really fun. What are you trying to say? I'm not sure what you're referencing, Jake. Bills, I introduced my friends to Riot Quest. They love it. We've been trying to defeat Karchev and Deathjack. JP got rockets. Diplomacy by other means. That's one way of putting it. War is good. Trust me, member of the military-industrial complex. Andrew Fairbanks. War is good for war crimes. That's true.
If you're trying to commit them, it's great for it. See, just saying war is the bad thing, or is the pointless thing. It's like, no, you can do a lot of things with it.
Well, and
those things may be terrible, but you can do them, and war's how.
Oh yeah, you're gonna hear the boost the economy thing too. It's like,
it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, I mean, you just
but
spending a lot of money is claimed as boosting the economy, but like the measurements for that are kind of jacked up. It's like, oh well, we measure our growth by how much money was spent, and we might ignore the fact that it might have been spent on bare essentials or energy. But yeah, the GDP is fine. Everything's fine. So, J. Alex, I'm gonna have to duck out early on you guys. I needed for parental duties. Have a good night. Thanks for coming by, J. Alex. Fenrir's Hobby Corner. Hi. Let's see, Mandagora. I feel historicals are nice, but also very limiting. I already feel Kador should be red and Signar should be blue. Getting a historic uniform wrong would paralyze me, and it's a lot of research work. Yeah. I mean, and that kind of depends on how you play it, although I could see it being very confusing if you did have historical miniatures that were painted like, I don't know, Game of Thrones models or something rather than what they were meant to represent. So it just depends on, I guess, how you're enjoying that.
There's always the obligatory, like, stormtrooper version of everything, where you paint something like stormtroopers. So you have, like, your stormtrooper Union soldiers and you're like, and your recreation.
Yes, that's true.
Or your stormtrooper paint job on your SS stormtroopers for your bolt action figures. Just paint them white with black details. And you're like, what?
Oh, wow. But I guess for the historical stuff, I mostly think of like how it plays. I think it was the Napoleonic Wars one where you have like this whole chart for aiming, was it a mortar?
It basically plays like Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Yeah. Which is great.
And it's like, part of that sounds really, really interesting. Then part of me is like, I don't know when I would do this. Like, that seems really deep, Like, you're really memorizing and you're utilizing charts and accounting for wind direction. It probably works better in a video game, because it can account for all those. But it's really cool to see.
Well, so for paint jobs, I wonder if part of that is that, like, if you look at you were saying a science fiction or fantasy game, like the models tend to be sculpted. I'm trying to think of how you'd put it, but like in a way that is open to a lot of interesting paint jobs. Okay. There aren't a lot of big spiky shoulder pads in fantasy or in historical games, right? And so like they're usually just schlubby dudes in uniforms, and so like
they're just dirty.
Yeah, right. But you gotta like kind of just paint them. Like the only thing that draws them up or that sets them apart is their paint job, right, instead of like the silhouette of the model. Because like a Kador model will just always look different than a Signar model, and
you
so even
recognize
if you
a
paint them
Space
different.
Marine from, I don't know, a Necron or like.
Yeah, well, even with that, right? Like even if the troops don't look that different, the Warjacks do. Whereas in historical games, it's like, I don't know, that cannon looks very similar to the opposing army's cannon.
Yeah.
Possibly they're the same kind of cannon. I don't know, depending on the war, right? Like where they got the weapons from. And so it's like the paint jobs are way more crucial to being able to tell them apart.
Well, unless they're on trays, and then I guess you could have the tray.
You could do like the color outline around the tray or something for stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's what he's talking about with like the paint jobs on historicals.
Okay, that makes sense. Shale, I look at it the same way Sabaton looks at the subject of their songs. They're villains in history, but they are interesting, and portraying them doesn't mean endorsing their villainy. Well, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is it? The idea of holding something in your head doesn't mean you have an obligation to believe it. And honestly, it's something that should be studied psychologically so you can understand, what draws somebody to evil. And make sure, yeah. Do you have the same vulnerabilities this person who got drawn to this house? actually kind of important. Like hiding from it and like, I don't know, insulating yourself from their existence doesn't make it not have happened. And it certainly doesn't protect you from it happening again.
What does the opposite, really?
Exactly. More or less guarantees it. History's like, huh, you didn't learn that one, huh? Well, I guess we'll just do it again until you get it. So. Bills, good night all. Have a good night, Bills. Appreciate you hanging out.
Burned your hand on the stove, did you? Well, just don't look at it when you put your hand on it again.
Well, right.
It'll be different this time.
Let's not learn how stoves work. Shale, I have 3 cats, and my wife has 2 cats, and our roommate has 2 cats. I have 7 cats.
I'm back in 8th grade math again. Or 6th grade math.
That is a lot of cats. God, they all get along with each other. One of my coworkers mentioned that she has, I think, 4 dogs, and her daughter's living with her. Her like adult daughter's living with her, like, you know, with the economy and all that stuff. Like, she's just living at home right now, but she has 5 dogs. They have 9 dogs at home, which
So they literally have a pack.
Yes, it sounds like a nightmare.
I don't know, one of the houses I used to clean had 6 dogs and 5 cats.
That's just so much fur and
So
so much
every
animal,
week.
everything.
So they just go into the living room. There's just a big pile of dogs like sleeping.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just an actual dog pile. That's what replaced their beanbag chairs. Like, just sit on the dogs.
I mean, it has to, because the dogs would eat the beanbag chair.
Paul, I remember smoking in bars here. It was banned in 2007. First thing I noticed was my clothes didn't stink after a night out. Mm-hmm.
Well, then what kind of a night out is that? But yes, I agree.
War veggies, that was a beautiful punchline. So anyways, we had 17 cats. Basically me. I basically had 17 cats. I was slightly obsessed. I used to make little documentaries as a kid on our camcorder. I would pretend I would go read stuff from the encyclopedia and then repeat it. So I did, really early video essays before YouTube made it cool. Talking about how cats are and why they're cool, I guess. Let's see.
This is the honey badger. Honey badger don't give a...
Is it true that skunks can interbreed with cats, or is that just a Warner Brothers joke? I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true, but Pepe Le Pew was gonna
give
test
it
it
a
out.
college try for sure.
I
To
mean,
be fair,
did you see the
he
episode where the
thought-
cat actually ends up liking him back and he starts running away from her?
No, I haven't seen that.
That
one.
was an episode.
Oh wow.
No, to be fair, he thought she was a skunk.
Yes.
That was the thing. He was convinced.
So that would have just been a sad surprise eventually, or?
Yeah, basically.
Oh god. This just got really sad.
It was a horse.
Stop. Oh no. Andrew, they all went to farms, huh? I get the code and no. They went to real farms with other animals. But, I mean, they're on a farm, so, it is what it is. Jeremy, we grew up in the country, and yep, our dogs would get porcupined all the time. But cats didn't last. We'd call them coyote bait. We had coyotes. Owls are definitely more the threat out here. Like, owls and, I guess, hawks, they will nab your cat right from you. And a small enough dog, too. Yeah, one day there'll be a different mod here, and Miranda will say, I went to live on the farm. Oh, gosh.
I remember our old Cador war dog. Like, I was taking her out for a walk, and I'd always walk late at night with her. Mm-hmm. And she was like a 65-pound dog. And there was just this black shadow that like jumped out of a tree and swooped down on her, and I think changed its mind once it was about 10 feet above her and like swooped away. But
yes.
It's like, it was huge. It had to be an owl, but it was enormous.
Well, and Daisy was a buxom lady, so I think the owl just did not quite realize what it was getting into. And then, yeah.
I can do it. I can't do it.
It's like, I can't lift that.
I gotta go back to leg day first. Everyone wants a log. You've got to have a log. Come on. Get your log. Log.
It's big,
Big,
it's heavy,
it's
it's wood.
Yep. I love game leaks for War Machine because it makes Privateer change their whole plan. Oh, well, that's not great either, because if you just pivot, then...
They're just like, no, it was this.
Oh, God. Did they really? I don't know. Was that always a thing? They never, I mean, as far as I can tell, leaks were kind of a common problem. That's why they brought all the playtesting in-house. Because, like, they would use playtesters and then it would just get leaked. I mean, not that it mattered anyway.
They were so secretive when they just didn't need to be. Like, it was a little silly.
I feel like most game companies kind of, I don't know. Like,
You're all kind of silly.
Yeah.
A wee bit silly.
It is a silly place.
yeah, right? I mean, you make games and I don't know what you think is going to happen by this information getting out. Like, you can't copyright game mechanics. So it's not like, oh, me bringing this new mechanic in, that's my thing.
You're like, oh no, the
fine.
Soviets are going to discover this new like game design that we have.
Right? Like, where is
They
it
don't
going?
need to be secret.
So, yeah, I don't know. And I guess there's competitive game companies maybe, but I don't know if that's really, like, going and learning those secrets isn't really the edge that you need to get ahead. You need just a really interesting IP and a reason for people to play your game.
Yes.
So, I mean...
Game companies are rarely like trying to edge out on who has the finest game mechanics.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right? They don't do that.
Mandagora, leaks and previews mean nothing to me anymore. Anastasia looked awesome, but it may never get developed by Mythic Games, and Overwatch 2 is effectively canceled. Really? Ooh.
Yeah.
I wonder how this person got an early copy. Yeah, I mean, he's in the video game circles and does reviews and stuff, so I'm sure he just got it through whatever unofficial means, but maybe official ones, I don't know. Like, if there was a purposeful leak, no one cared. Like, no one at that party cared. It was kind of wild.
And it was a room full of people literally playing games. They had how many TV screens?
A bunch
with
of
games
TVs.
set
Yeah,
up?
people were playing Tetris. That's what everyone wanted to do.
Wow, we play Tetris all the time.
Because they're timeless. Because it's fun, and it's an ideal party game. You don't want to
Okay,
play
let's
Breath
look
of the
at it.
Wild when you're supposed to be social. Like, that's what you do when you don't want to be social.
You even had a classic Killer Instinct arcade game wheeled
yeah,
into the living room.
that was fun.
Double check and make sure he is in.
Andrew, yep, Balrak has a moaning video about being shadow banned for leaking, then proceeds to inform everyone the 10th edition rules have been leaked.
Do you mind making sure that's in focus?
That is, and see, and then you create this weird, like, hostility with your gamer base, too, so, let's see.
Focus.
I'll just wiggle it a bit to make sure. Yeah, it seems pretty good. Wow, he looks cool. Look at all those little tentacles.
Yeah, I like him. He's neat.
He looks creepy. Shale, Tears of the Kingdom? You mean Korok Toter Simulator and Hyrule Space Program? No, don't say that. I don't know yet. I'm already kind of sick of the Koroks, but it's fine because it's Zelda and I love it mostly.
You're sick of the what? Koroks?
Koroks, yeah, the little forest people. You know, we used to have Kokiri, which are the children that never aged. Now we have Koroks, which are just little chibi plant. They look like Pokemon. And there's 900 of them in Breath of the Wild that I have to discover if I wanted to complete it. I am not 100%ing that game. I'm not gonna, like, 100%ing a game these days is so different than what it meant in, like, the 90s or even the 2000s. When you'd 100% a game, you'd find, like, these cool little things that people thought of. Now everyone's trying to just add filler, and 900 Korok seeds is 100% filler. So, yeah, slightly
They just
frustrating.
want you to catch all the Pokemon. It's fine.
Although it is kind of, I've started being mean to them. So, like, you'll lift up a rock or something in the overworld, and boom, a little Korok's under it, and he's like, hey, here, have my poop, or whatever, because apparently that's what Korok seeds are. But you're still holding the rocks. If you drop it, you can drop it back on them, and they're like, ouch. So I've become a Korok abuser.
Oh my gosh.
900 of them. What are they doing? It's not nice. They're very cute when you hurt them. Oh, God. I'm going to regret this when I've had sleep. Anyway, Jeremy,
no.
I'm actually asking for a chargeback for my copy of Anistry, as I have no faith it'll ever be a game that comes out. So this is another one of those Kickstarter games that just didn't finish development. That sucks. Paul, I only get excited about video game leaks as GW leaks always feel staged. Well, yeah, the Chaos Space Marines, I remember that being like in the URL or something. People are like, what are you doing? Capcom leaked years back showing RE4 being remade and Hunk getting his own game was cool. Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow, I didn't know Hunk got his own. I do miss the old days when AOS was supposed to be Bubble Hammer. Bubble Hammer? Like, is that because of template? What do you mean Bubble Hammer? Do you know what he means? And yes, all the new lieutenants are Primaris-sized older guys. Well, there you go.
Oh, interesting.
Jeremy, yes, Tommy, they can cross the Rubicon, and not everyone survives the process, but many of our heroes have made it through. Calgar and Dante are two major ones. So jealous you got to see The Cure. No one ever comes here. I mean,
People don't usually come here.
it's been a while, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know where you're at, but maybe worth traveling for. It was good. We actually went to 2 concerts over the last couple weeks. So we saw The Cure last night, and then we saw Clutch a week ago, which was really fun. So
I was excited about that.
it was a good time. They put on a good performance. So got to have a little concert life again, because it's been a long time. Well, I don't know. We got to see Nine Inch Nails in Soundgarden at the theater several years ago. Several years ago, obviously. So, and see, I once heard Liam Hemsworth described as dollar store Chris Hemsworth. That's gotta suck, because like Liam Hemsworth is a perfectly handsome man, except you have the disservice of being the brother of Chris Hemsworth, who is like, yeah. So yeah,
It's like you're a B plus or even an A student in a classroom of like A plus students.
all valedictorians.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay.
Cool. Did you see the casting on the Back to the Future remake? Stop! I reject your premise immediately. Don't. Shale, Beetlejuice was also a cartoon, which is what I was more familiar with. Oh yeah, you watched the cartoon.
I actually dressed as the cartoon Lydia for Halloween this last year.
Yeah. Ang Lee and his
Nobody
dust.
knew who she was. I was sad.
That's okay. You were really warm. That is 100% no Japan. That is Hong Kong, Tommy.
What, a ninja scroll? Oh, it's been years since I've seen it, but I thought, I mean, it's feudal Japan, I thought, but maybe I'm wrong.
Trisha Bishop also said that supposedly Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder are coming back.
Oh, okay, well then.
Bye, Word Veggies. Thanks for popping in. I'm sure you're already left by the time I read this, but anyway, appreciate you hanging out. Ender, hi, good evening. Hello, hello. Let's see, my Twitter got hacked. Got help in my language, help in English a month ago, not gotten more, or the account back. Aw, your Twitter got hacked? Mine got hacked briefly, and I was able to get that one back pretty quickly. The Facebook one was a lot more devastating. But yeah, I don't know, has there been an increase in that, or are we all just having our turn at the identity theft attempt stuff? Because it's definitely been intense. All right, Plunderden, thanks for popping in. Appreciate you hanging out for your lunch break. Ender, war is a great way to kill the vibe. Dude, there's some, I guess, let me clarify my position on this, because I feel like people keep like misconstruing it. So it's like, war is not inherently good, nor is it inherently evil. It is one of many avenues to a resolution of something. And generally, it should not be your first avenue of resolution towards something. It's usually the last resort when everything else has been taken off the table. And sometimes, you know, if you just have somebody in power who's pretty evil and maybe wants to, I don't know, eliminate an entire race of humans, maybe it is the answer to that. So there are moments, is all I'm saying.
Well, for something like that, I mean, it's just, even if you're being invaded, then
Yeah.
do you
You roll over or do you
do
fight back?
surrender,
I
or do you
mean, come
engage
on.
in war, right? Or I mean, there's a lot of things that are worthwhile. Or if your allies are invaded, and the people invading them is just like, oh yeah, you're next. Let me just take this over first, and then we're coming for you. It's like, well, then you go, oh, okay, well, I will.
I'll just wait my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like
Everyone laughs at that in kung fu movies, but it's like, but then
where
you
they're
get
all
into,
waiting for the fight. Yeah.
but whenever it gets into socio-political or global politics and stuff, it's like, no, there's reasons to get in and wage war or even to just engage in war that you didn't even start or something, but it's just like, to say it's like, oh, it's good for nothing. It's like, well, clearly it's good for many things. It's even good for terrible things that you shouldn't be doing. But if you want to do those terrible things, well, war might be the best way to get that done, right? And so it's like...
Yeah, it's just hard for people to not hear that and think that's somehow an endorsement.
Well, yeah, right?
And it's like, no, it's a tool. It's like saying hammers are all bad. They're always bad. And you're like, really? It's a hammer.
And it's like, well, sometimes you can hammer nails in the wrong place, and that's terrible. And you're like, well...
Sometimes you slip and you hammer your thumb and it hurts, and then I'm sad, so all hammers should be no. Or...
And so, like,
So maybe that's a little reductionist, but it is a little bit of a frustrating argument because it seems like people get so emotional about it, and it's one of those things where you run the risk of not learning important things as a result of being too emotional about it.
Yeah.
I think, anyway.
And so, like, for something like that topic, it's just saying, oh, it's good for nothing. I just think of that song.
Yeah,
And so
like
it's
the
always in my
popular
head, and it's
song.
like, absolutely nothing. I'm like, what? It's all
Sing
sorts
again.
of things you can accomplish with war. What are you talking about? And so...
Well, and I mean, I'll say stuff just to razz my coworkers, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's like, no, it should not be it's usually not a great resort. It's just, it sucks because so much of that really depends on what the other side is willing to do.
Well,
If they're reasonable, then yeah, you can probably avoid it, but, have you ever met an unreasonable person? Probably have. Just be grateful they're not in a massive amount of power.
Well, I mean, it's like the coming down to a physicality in general, where it's just like you come home and there's a homeless guy in your living room watching TV, and you're like, what are you doing? You need to get out of my house. And he's like, no.
No.
And so you just move, right? That's what you do. You just leave.
Leave your house.
And it's like, well, no, you call the police to come and commit physicality with a threat of force, threat of violence behind it to remove this man from your house, right? And it's just like, oh, well, that was good for nothing. You just engaged in this, thing
Brute
that
force.
has brute force, and it's never good for anything. And you're like, this homeless man's in my house. My children live there,
Yeah.
It's saying that there's no use for it whatsoever. It's like, no, look, nobody wants it. Well, some people want it, I guess.
Well,
but,
yeah,
but
there's definitely
no
always-
reasonable person wants to engage in this, but
Yes.
sometimes you have to because it is the tool that has to be applied to a problem.
And if
And
you
so-
refuse to apply that tool when it's necessary, then you can harm so many more people,
Well,
which is
yeah.
why it is important to understand what it is and not just always say no matter what. Because if the goal is to have the fewest number of people harmed and killed and horribly murdered or displaced or just lives destroyed by it, then you got to sort of know when to hesitate, when to jump. Like, life is complicated. You can't just have one answer for everything. It's just not how it works.
Which is why I think a healthy diet of wargaming also consists of, like I think a lot of the historical wargamers do, study the history around the wars.
Well, yeah,
and
just like you
figure out,
study the lore in
how
like
did
40K
this happen?
or
How did this
Iron
get started?
Kingdoms.
Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and then and then the fictional environments like 40K or Age of Sigmar or Iron Kingdoms. Iron Kingdoms was really good at this, by the way.
Yeah, they were.
Is like you kind of have these fictitious settings where you can propose that, well, maybe this is what started this conflict, and you're like, huh, that's interesting. I loved the stories in Iron Kingdoms around Lael because they
had a lot of
politically
internal
complex.
issues and
They had the ethnic groups that were there. No, they weren't the Cossite. They were the
Rainier.
what's that?
The Rainier, like Vlad's race
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Yeah, and so you have like ethnic roots in Kador, but they were in Lael, which is its own country. And
Because
so,
it was old Kador. Like, no, I mean,
Yeah.
and there was obvious allegory
but
to
then there
real
was
history.
like,
But
you know, because they created a lot of cortexes and they were, the alchemists and everything, they
oh,
had
yeah,
a lot of
the
very
Golden
political.
Crucible there. And
Well, yeah, the Golden Crucible. Well, they had a lot of political ties to Signar. And so then you also had an aristocracy within Lael that was actually kind of corrupt. And so the people, like, weren't so big fans of them and were okay with. And it's just like, oh, this is fascinating because you can really chew on, like, oh, man, this place is fake and doesn't exist. But if you really look at this, though, like, this
But
is,
the
you see echoes of
characters,
this
in
our real world history. And so it's like, it gives you a lot of, I don't know, it's a healthy diet of wargaming, in my opinion,
it is.
to think about stuff like that.
So, I don't know. I've either properly alienated everyone or clarified, but it just... I just didn't want it to get muddy, dang it. Jeremy, Star Wars Legion is by far my favorite historical game. Remember, it took place long ago in a galaxy far, far away, so it counts as historical, right?
There's no way to prove it didn't.
That's true. Andrew, I'm surprised Pepe Le Pew hasn't been canceled. I thought there was an attempt on him, actually.
There was,
Yeah.
They actually did try.
I don't know that anyone cared enough. Like, everyone's getting a little fatigued with it, I think, so. Shale, my cats all get on just fine. Oh, good. Mab, Morpheus, and Nox, oh, or litter mates. Isis, oh, I had a kitty cat named Isis, and Sylvie have a room to themselves. Peter and Remy are a couple of doofuses who get on well with everyone. Your cats are super nice.
I mean, they're not necessarily nice to each other, but they tolerate each other.
Oh, no,
fine.
they're just nice to me.
Yeah, they're nice to people.
They're
My
nice to
cats
people,
are
yeah.
very well equipped to deal with people.
Yeah, they're pretty good for that. My one little cat's just awkward, but she's getting sweeter in her old age.
Oh, yeah, it turns out it's real nice to have people actually dote on you.
Mandagora, I am now imagining medieval Miranda as a hawker. That's a pretty cool visual image. Miranda with her war dog and little kestrel going on the hunt to hunt pigeons and ducks. That would be awesome. I don't mind this at all. Jeremy Flo, have you ever painted your gold using orange inks over silver paint? I watched someone paint custodies that way and it was interesting and made me consider it.
I own 0 inks, so no.
Yeah.
If I had any inks, I might try it, but I don't have any.
I'm sure we could correct that.
Yeah, you can get them some cool ink work.
Yeah, if you want to explore that, you should. Shell, careful with those unofficial means. Game companies sending the Pinkertons after you is apparently on the table.
Yes, it is. Don't do business with them anymore.
That's some,
Bullshit.
yeah, that's like mercantilism, like strong-arming kind of behavior right there. So, yeah. Oh no, rulebooks had better be valuable and protected like state secrets. We're playing 40-100 for each of, or we're paying 40 to 100 for each of those damn books, and we aren't paying for new art or lore given how they recycle them. I mean, they're probably better protected than a lot of state secrets, so whatever. JP got Rocket's 4-page leak of the new 40K 10th edition rulebook. Cool, but ultimately I find it meaningless. Right? I mean...
Yeah, I keep seeing your screen get the little circle thing.
Oh, am I having
I'm
it?
using,
No, it says it's... No.
so you watch up at the top left,
Yeah.
it'll start there.
Are we hanging up here? I'll have to have someone let me know, because if not, then maybe it's just our computer. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, as far as the new leak stuff, I don't know. Again, it's just we play it when we play it. It's not like we don't have a million models to be painting or assembling in the meantime. And I'm really over the whole like min-max idea. So I'm just gonna paint when I'm painting or build what I'm building. I'm making my little Tillin Rough Riders and getting more Catachan ready to go, even though everyone hates them, and working on some tags. And it's like, look, this is just going to be my army. This is what I'm going to have to work with. Because you know what I also had to deal with in warfare? What you were given and not min-maxing everything. So.
Oh, yeah. It's usually the most interesting, like, aspects of historical warfare is just...
It's like problem solving or creative use of game mechanics.
Well, yeah, just seeing what they had to work with and going, well, that's it. Here we go.
Okay, JP got Rockets and Paul's got us. We're 5x5s. Thank you. Let's see. The leak of 10th I found today must have been about 30 to 40 pages, photos of each page by a dude who sat in his car. Yeah. Let's see, Warhammer Fantasy Battle / AOS Rumors used to be a Google Translate from English to Portuguese by someone who didn't play the game back to English. Oh, wow.
Huh.
Unless you're a follower of Khorne, then war is eternal. Yeah, I do still
This is
love that
fair.
story of the Wog, the orc Wog that went after Khorne, and he was just so pleased as punch at the idea that he just keeps bringing them back to fight over and over. And it seems like a symbiotically happy relationship.
He's going to think that till they get to him. When one of those battles, they might win.
Andrew, oh God, Kane was just today's Russia and Ukraine decades before it happened. I mean, yeah, but you gotta remember, Doug Seacat was really, really good writer for Privateer. Like, he, I think, probably read history and he's pretty sharp on how a lot of geopolitical situations were laid out. And, I mean, as much as everyone knows about Ukraine now, like, would have known about that in the 90s if you followed it. So,
But
yeah.
no, it's very close, though,
It's
in a lot of ways.
incredibly close, including all the internal strife and using pillars within the government of the country you want to say, oh yeah, we want to annex, sure, yeah. But it's allegorical in that you can explore the idea of how these psychological, geopolitical worlds collide without the biases that might come with how it affects real world politics. So, if you know somebody or you have some emotionally charged connection to it, valid or not, it clouds your judgment on it. So, seeing it in stories is actually really, really helpful for being able to understand a lot of philosophy. Remember when Still remember to this day working at Barnes & Noble years and years ago, and I remember talking to this guy who said that he didn't like fiction. He didn't like fiction. He only read nonfiction. And I'm trying to remember what his even reasoning for it was, but it really struck me
It
as
was you can't learn anything from fiction. or
yeah, it was
something
like,
that.
oh, you're afraid of being tricked into learning something that you don't want to learn, because that's what fiction can do. It gets around your biases in a lot of ways if you're just telling a compelling story, and then you're like, oh, maybe that applies in this other way. So that's how I take it anyway, but yeah.
I was thinking about the old Star Trek show, where it's you get time in our country when actual racism was really high, and it wasn't even really high, but there's just still areas of the country where it was, right? But it was Captain Kirk goes and makes out with this green girl. And in your mind, for some of those people, it's seeing yeah, but that's a white actress who's painted green, so it doesn't matter. But then it's after a while, you have to start going, does it though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. And it's that whole thing where okay, so just the skin over her was green. How's that different than, I don't know. Anyone else,
Yeah.
And then it's just it's something where once you've accepted something and accepted it for a few years, then you go back and you're wait a minute. And you have to come to terms with it. I mean, you don't have to, right? But it helps.
That's true. You don't have to learn anything, I guess.
But it is an abstraction that can make you at ease to wrap your head around something that then whenever you come back and face it again in reality, you've possibly learned something new, or you have a new thought about it, where then when it's applied to reality, you're like, I don't know. I mean, that's not that different, though, I guess. It's just the skin on the outside of you. Who cares? You know what I mean? And it's yeah, that's right.
Turns out.
But it was that way the whole time, but you didn't see it. You were only open to it in this total abstraction.
Mm-hmm.
In
You have
this
to make it kind of safe.
Yeah.
Well, it's how you acclimate someone to something, right? It's a degree of incrementalism, but at least in a positive way. And yeah, people are pointing out in the stream, and this is well known, Kirk and Uhura, first interracial kiss.
Oh yeah.
Which props to Will Shatner, because that was the one they had multiple takes on, and they kept having him. They wanted him to retake without actually kissing her, and he would flub the take every time on purpose to make sure they only had one usable take. Yep. So I was like, man, such a Chad. Anyway, We could probably start wrapping stuff up here. Pete's Fried Chicken and Gaming. Hi, Miranda and Co. Hello, Pete.
By the way, I don't care what anyone thinks about it. I am so happy that Captain Kirk made it to space.
I know. I think that was delightful.
That is poetic, and I love it.
Jeremy, Doug is much missed. I love his writing. Frankly, he's an amazing, amazing writer for Privateer. The only one who associated with PP that I care about is Budgies. Budgies pretty cool too.
We all care about budgies around here.
We do care about Budgies. Just noticed the Skulls event begins on Steam on the 25th. So all GW video games will be on sale. Wow. Mandagora, I can respect the guy who doesn't want to read fiction. Authors can overlook a lot of branching problems, consequences, and interdependencies. With history, there's whether people know why or not. With history, it's there, whether people know why or not. Yes, I would say that, again, like, fiction really helps to explore the philosophies behind ideas. Even when the author doesn't always get it right, they can still give you something to learn from.
Oh, no, right. There's plenty of nonfiction writers that have their biases go in and even ignore or just turn a blind eye to certain
Moments in history.
Yeah, true things within that moment of history as well.
Well, which is arguably more dangerous,
And
right?
so
Because then you're trying
never read a
to
textbook?
rewrite.
Yeah, there's a lot of rewriting of history right now, but like, even so, what is it? Even with that, like, it can, having certain concepts in your mind about the way human nature works, it's like it makes history that's like missing something uncanny. You're like, okay, I just read this, but I feel like there's still more.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I always feel like no, I think there's something more in here and it gets you to like dig around in another source and go, oh, okay, they're writing about this aspect, and there it is. There's something that the other one was missing,
Mandagora says, saying Kirk and O'Hara was first ignores Lucy and Ricky, in my opinion. Do we actually see them kiss?
Yeah. So
Like, they're married, but they're, like, in separate beds?
yeah.
And, like, I don't know, like, maybe, I guess I don't actually remember that, and maybe that's exactly right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they do.
Yeah.
And you're right. It is there. It's just not really thought of in the same way. But yeah, you're right.
I wonder if part of that's just it being black and white.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like you can't tell even
though you clearly
obviously
can
like
tell.
even kind of adds more lunacy to the obsession,
yeah.
like people's hang-ups with it, but whatever. Any battle reports in the near future? Well, once 10th edition drops, we'll talk. Because that's the plan. The idea was like this year, we were like, okay, we're going to do 40K battle reports, and we've gotten this army built up and painted up, and then 10th edition got announced, and so we're like, well, that's going to happen before we can make a battle report, so we might as well make a 10th edition battle report. So.
Well, it's like it's going to happen soon enough that it's like, well, we're not going to rush to try to get something out, so we've just been working on painting armies and building terrain and just getting stuff ready for it. So yeah. So the idea is to start kicking stuff out the door when 10th hits.
That is the plan. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for everyone who hung out tonight. I know the conversation was weird and meandery and all of that, but
sometimes that's nice.
It was fun to engage. It was fun to be social with people I have something in common with. So I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And yeah, 10th edition is just around the corner. So I'm curious to see what you are or are not looking forward to, what changes are coming, if you care, if you're playing at all. So thank you guys. Do appreciate you. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Oh, we got a sweet closer.
Barry, cover me. Copy that.
No more sandwiches, Barry.
What's wrong with this place?
I'm in the west corridor. I'm right outside the generator room. I'm out of bullets. Oh, Barry.